A soldier approaches a nun. I don't want to be rude, but can I please hide under your dress? I'll explain later, said the man. Go ahead, answered the nun. Two high-ranked army officers walk up and ask the nun, Have you, by any coincidence, seen a soldier? After the officers disappear, the soldier leaves the dress and says, Thank you so much. I don't want to go to Afghanistan. My apologies, but I got to say that you have a nice pair of legs. The nun responded, Should have looked higher, you would have seen the nicest pair of balls. I also don't want to go to Afghanistan. 1. An old woman came into her doctor's office and confessed to an embarrassing problem. I do that all the time, Dr. Johnson, but they're soundless, and they have no odor. In fact, since I've been here, I did it no less than 20 times. What can I do? Here's a prescription, Mrs. Harris. Take these pills 3 times a day for 7 days and come back and see me in a week. Next week, an upset Mrs. Harris marched into Dr. Johnson's office. Doctor, I don't know what was in those pills, but the problem is worse. I'm doing it just as much, but now it smells terrible. What do you have to say for yourself? Calm down, Mrs. Harris, said the doctor soothingly. Now that we've fixed your sinuses, we'll work on your hearing. 2. A first-grade teacher was having trouble with one of her students, who was being extremely rude in class. So, one day she asked little Johnny what his problem was. He replied, I'm too smart for the first grade. My sister is in the 3rd grade, and I'm smarter than her too. The teacher took him to the principal's office and explained the situation to the principal. The principal told her that he would give Johnny a test, and if he failed to answer one question correctly, he would have to go back to the 1st grade and be quiet. The teacher and Johnny both agreed. The principal asked, What's 3 by 3? Johnny replied, 9. 6 by 6? Asked the principal. 36. Johnny quickly replied. It continued on like this for almost an hour. The principal asked Johnny every question a 3rd grader should know, and he answered them all correctly. Finally, the principal told the teacher, I see no reason Johnny can't go to the 3rd grade. He answered all of my questions right. The teacher asked if she could ask him some questions. The principal and Johnny agree. So, the teacher asked Johnny, What does a cow have 4 of, that I only have 2 of? Legs, Johnny replies. The teacher then asks, What do you have in your pants that I don't have? The principal gasps, but before he can stop him from answering, Johnny says, Pockets. Then the teacher asks, What does a dog do that a man steps into? Johnny says, Pants. Finally, the teacher asks, What starts with F, ends with K, and means a lot of excitement? Fire truck, says Johnny. The principal breathes a big sigh of relief, then says, Put Johnny in the 5th grade. I got the last 4 questions wrong myself. 3. A man walks into a drugstore with his 8-year-old son. They happen to walk by the condom display, and the boy asks, What are these, Dad? To which the man matter-of-factly replies, Those are called condoms, son. Men use them to have safe. Oh, I see, replied the boy pensively. Yes, I've heard of that in health class at school. He looks over the display and picks up a package of 3 and asks, Why are there 3 in this package? The dad replies, Those are for high school boys, 1 for Friday, 1 for Saturday, and 1 for Sunday. Cool, says the boy. He notices a 6-pack and asks, Then who are these for? Those are for college men. The dad answers, 2 for Friday, 2 for Saturday, and 2 for Sunday. Wow, exclaimed the boy. Then who uses these? He asks, picking up a 12-pack. With a sigh and a tear in his eye, the dad replied, Those are for married men. 1 for January, 1 for February, 1 for March. 4. My wife hosted a dinner party for all our friends, some of whom we hadn't seen for ages. Everyone was encouraged to bring their children. All through the meal, my wife's best friend's 4-year-old daughter stared at me as I sat opposite her. The girl could hardly eat her food, and just kept staring. I checked my shirt for spots, felt my face for food and patted my hair in place, but nothing stopped her from staring at me. I tried my best to ignore her, but finally it was too much for me. I asked her, "Why are you staring at me?" Everyone at the table had noticed her behavior, and the table went quiet for her response. The little girl said, "I'm just waiting to see how you drink like a fish." 5. A farmer drove to a neighbor's farmhouse and knocked at the door. A boy about 9 opened the door. "Is your dad or mum home?" said the farmer. "No, they went to town." "How about your brother Howard? Is he here?" "No, he went with mum and dad." The farmer stood there for a few minutes, shifting from one foot to the other, and mumbling to himself. "I know where all the tools are, if you want to borrow one, or I can give Dad a message." "Well," said the farmer uncomfortably, "I really wanted to talk to your dad. It's about your brother Howard getting my daughter Susie pregnant." The boy thought for a moment. "You would have to talk to Dad about that. I know he charges $500 for the bull and $50 for the pig, but I don't know how much he charges for Howard." 6. A mortician was working late one night. It was his job to examine the dead bodies before they were sent off to be buried or cremated. As he examined the body of Mr. Sam, who was about to be cremated, he made an amazing discovery. Sam had the longest private part he had ever seen. "I'm sorry, Mr. Sam," said the mortician, "but I can't send you off to be cremated with a tremendously huge private part like this. It has to be saved for posterity." And with that, the coroner used his tools to remove the dead man's distinguishing member. The coroner stuffed his prize into a briefcase and took it home. The first person he showed was his wife. "I have something to show you that you won't believe," he said, and opened his briefcase. "Oh my God!" she screamed. "Sam is dead,"